problem can be anything. Whatever comes in our life, everything is a problem. Every problem has also a solution, minimum one solution. Sometimes we have multiple solutions to a problem. Say for example, I I just want to make some tea. So I the problem here is making a tea. Now I may have different choices of making a tea. Maybe I can make a black tea, or a black tea without sugar, or a tea with milk. Even in the milk also, I may have 50% milk and 50% water. So there are multiple solutions to it. Now, in all of them, what is the best solution, or the optimum solution, or the feasible solution? This is nothing but aptitude. So all we have to do is finding out the best way possible, and that too in a smart way. Now, you may ask, what is smart way? Aren't we doing things in a regular way? Nahi. When we go for a regular way, we are not going our aptitude way. Aptitude way is somewhat zara hatke. Okay. So maybe a smart way, or maybe an optimal solution. Okay. So in the entire course, we will be learning. We will be learning about something called as quant and logical reasoning. Okay. So quant is basically, as the name suggests, it all depends upon this concept, that is numbers. Jahan kahin but bhi, wherever we get problems where numbers are involved, those are quantitative problems. Okay. Logical reasoning. You may ask why logical reasoning is different and why quant is different. So quant is purely a number based situations. Now reasoning is purely common sense based. अब ये common sense क्या होता है? Whenever you put some logic, whenever you question some common sense, then it becomes logical reasoning. अगर ऐसा है तो वैसा है, अगर ऐसा है तो क्यों है? So this is nothing but when you question the common sense, it becomes the logical reasoning. Okay. So in the quant also, we will be learning numerous topics. The first one, we will start with number system. Okay. Number systems, you don't have to note it down everything. Okay. So I'll be sharing this entire PPT with you at the end of the session. Okay. So number system, it will take around 4 hours to complete. Okay. 4 hours to complete, because it's a very vast topic and a very important one. So if you're clear, if you're okay with number systems, once you are proper with number systems, you can solve any question, any problems on quant. All the quant are based on number systems. Okay. Second comes the arithmetic part. Now arithmetic part is what you have learned in school, level. I hope I'm audible to all of you properly. Am I?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So arithmetic may we have to look about percentage, and then we have ratio. People are still joining in, so just okay.
बोलना मादरचोद
Okay. So percentage, ratio, then average. So again, in the entire arithmetic portion, these three are the major topics. Okay. Why major topics? Because the entire arithmetic will be based on these three. For percentage, you may ask, this will form the basis of what other topics? Topics like profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest. Okay. So this will help us to solve these two topics. Now, where will ratio be applied? Ratio can be applied in profit and loss as well. Time and work, time, speed, distance. These are very popular topics. Okay. Then we have partnership related questions. Okay. Then we have ages related questions. All these are based on the concept of ratio. Okay. Next, the average. Again, average is very important. Throughout your life, you will be using average. Okay. So average, we have the concept of arithmetic mean. Okay. Then we have weighted average. Then we have mixtures and allegation. Again, another very important topic. Okay. So out of all these topics, if you are comfortable with these three basics now, percentage, ratio and average, your entire arithmetic will be sorted. So I will be telling you how to use percentage, what are the ways to use percentage, what are the difference between percentage and ratio. Okay. And one thing to note, ये अच्छे से समझ लेना that percentage and ratio, these are two sides of a coin. Okay, these are two sides of a coin. That means whenever I require percentage, okay, I may convert ratio into percentage. Whenever whenever percentage doesn't work properly, there I can use convert percentage to ratio and then work. You know? So you can say these as
अमित
two
आहे ना.
sides of a coin. Both are
अरे
very
अमित
very
नाही
very
बे, अमित
helpful to. Okay, or basically in the entire
अमितला ओळखतो मी, अमित सरांना.
arithmetic,
ते वेगळंच आवाज येतं.
90%
ते
90% of the
हे बघ,
shortcuts are based on percentage and ratio. Okay,
बुद्धा.
so I'll tell you each and every detail. What are the subtopics that you need to focus on, which companies or which third party companies prefer these type of topics. Okay. Next comes the modern math. I hope you understand modern math. Okay. If you don't
क्लास
understand, no problem.
हां माय
I'll
क्लासेस
explain you each and everything.
गोइंग ऑन.
So modern math is nothing but most applications are evolved when computers or semiconductors things came into being. The binary system came into being. Okay, uh, that era ka, these are the maths. Okay, the concept called as set theory. Okay, the concept like permutations and combinations. Okay, now this is one of the important topic, very important topic. Another is probability. So again, uh, PNC majority of the cases will be used in probability as well. Okay, so these are the three topics that we will be learning under modern math. Okay, so all these things will take us around 20 hours. Okay, so I'll guide you each and every step, how to practice, how to get used to it, what will be the detailed concept on this, what how to approach a particular problem, how to look at a problem, and how to approach towards a solution. Okay, I'll tell you each and every detail. If you have any query, stop me right there, ask questions. Okay, so if you don't understand one particular method, I'll explain you in another method. Okay, no problem in that. Now switching back to logical reasoning. So logical reasoning again, these are very broadly again divided into numerical and verbal. Now numerical, as the name suggests, some numbers will be involved. The questions, the topic like directions. So you might have come across questions like uh, Ram walks 10 kilometers towards east and then takes a right turn, walks another 5 kilometers. Now these are the topics where numbers are involved. So the question may be like,
व्यवस्थित जमल ना.
what will be the distance between the initial and the final position? Okay. So these are the topics.
दिलं
Now,
दिलं मी ते.
directions is one of them. Another one, number series. Series is where numbers are involved. Okay. Now series, what we will have is certain numbers are given. Okay, you need to observe the numbers, you need to identify the patterns, and then uh, then identify what should come in the next or what is a missing number. Okay, out of this entire series, this is again very popular one. My suggestion is, okay, every day you try to solve one series के question. Okay, this will help in building up your uh, application based mind. Okay, now what I'm saying, what I'm talking about application based. देखो, simple example when I say, uh, you might have done a first program, computer program in C language. When I say printf, okay, hello world, right? Now everyone is aware of this concept. Now, the moment we start using writing codes, the very first program that we write is hello world or welcome to C programming and so on. Now this is a regular way, ये सबको पता है, सबको आता है. Now what new things can you apply out of this? मुझे ABCD लिखना आता है. Everyone can write ABCD. What new I can write? What content I can create out of the existing one? What new things I can apply? Which way I can use to solve an existing problem? So this is all about developing a application based mindset. Okay, मैं कुछ अलग तरीके से, या I can give a solution to a particular problem. This is what the company needs. Regular लोग नहीं चाहिए. If I ask, the company will say ABCD सबको आता है. Who knows a better way? This is what we need. Okay, so company takes aptitude exams, aptitude test only to judge whether you have an applied mindset, application based mindset or not, or just a regular mindset.
No, no,
This is
no.
the only difference that makes. Okay, so the first test will segregate you from the regular ones. So this is why we study. Okay, now coming back to the numerical based logical reasoning. So these are the two very 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 important one. Okay, some people also considering coloring cubes, clocks and calendars under reasoning. Okay, so now why these are considered under clocks and calendars are considered as reasoning? Because these are not the regular topics that we study. Okay, so this is again a based application, purely application based. Now uh, the other part that is verbal part. Okay, so verbal part, again, out of all the verbal part, one thing is very important, that is blood relations. इतना सोच लो, you will definitely get a question on blood relations. Definitely you'll get a question. Second is, again, blood relations is confusing to many of you. Even uh, when I was going through for the first time in my career, I was going through this topic. Blood relation was very confusing. Okay, so I'll tell you a technique. Use that technique throughout. There will not be any confusion. Okay. Now, next is statement conclusion based topics. Okay, now out of there are many statement conclusion based topics, just like when I am given a statement and some conclusions are given. Now what do you mean by conclusions? Statement bole to certain given conditions. Okay, these are the conditions. Out of these conditions, can I conclude that this might happen? Say for example, it is raining today. Now from this, can I conclude that I will not be going out to play? So these are the statement and conclusion based. Okay, there are many statement conclusion based questions. Say for example, statement and assumptions, syllogisms, causes and effect, and so on. Okay, out of all these, we will be studying the syllogisms wala topic, which is very 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 important. Okay, verbal reasoning में these are the two topics which you need to focus a lot of time. Okay, बाकी कुछ करो ना करो, these are the topics you need to focus. Okay, syllogisms is again, we will be taking the help of Set theory,
हे हवा चालू आहे ना
that is one concept on set theory is Venn diagram. If you have any query, please do ask. Okay. Now, a basic challenge is how to study all of them. It is not required to study all of them. Okay, you don't have to practice everything. I'll tell you again. Let me give you some gist about the important topics that we need to study. We need to know all. We need to know all, but practice importance only. Okay, practice important chapters only because you'll be having a lot of modules coming in.
नहीं
ये
नहीं
भी
वापस
पढ़ना है वो भी पढ़ना है and you don't get time to practice on this. Okay, so my idea is pretty simple.
नहीं थांब एवढं तर
You
कर
just know all. Okay, the basics of all, but you have to practice the few topics that I'll tell you
तू गेम
very regularly.
चौघ
Okay, you need to practice on that.
त्यासाठी तू
So
दुसरं घे
once you practice on that, once you get your hands on that,
कॅरी बॅग
things will be very simple. You'll be
चार्ज
clearing each and every
वेळ
test
लागतो
that
चालायला
comes across. Okay. Okay. So far, we have came across. We have seen all the chapters. Okay. So one chapter is remaining. That is
तिकीट
data
घेऊन गेलेलं
sufficiency, which I call it as the revision of all the topics. Okay. Now, why I'm saying revision of all the topics? Data sufficiency does not have any specific concept or any specific uh, it's a topic from where these questions are being asked. Okay, data sufficiency is something which can be asked from number systems, which can be asked from any arithmetic concepts, which may be asked from any modern math question. The only thing we need to check is whether the given condition or the data is sufficient to answer the question or not. That's it. That is why data sufficiency becomes a revision of all the topics. Okay, so this is the only topic that we'll be studying at last. Okay, जब पूरा सब revision हो जाएगा, and then we'll go to data sufficiency.
किती टाकी
Okay,
4 5 6 7 8 टाका
so
8 टाका 8
out
टाका
of all
सगळे
these
ते होती
topics,
का तुझ्या
which are the
ते पळत होती
important
का रात्री
topics that we are going to learn? So
हां
important topic will be HCF
मग टाकून बस बस बस
and
बस बस
LCM,
बस
which is
बस
a
तिने
part
केलं ते
of
ते पोळी
number
आहे ना
systems.
ऑलरेडी
Okay, which is a
अरे
part
मग
of number
जास्त होती ना
systems. These are very popular concepts, and चाहे CoCubes हो या Mercer Metal हो or MCAT, Elitmus, everyone ask questions which includes HCF and LCM. Okay, now CoCubes and all, what are these things?
भाई आज
I'll tell
काहीच
you in
कळलं नाही
detail,
बरं काय
buddy,
म्हणाले
step by step. Okay, so the next is
हं? बसणार
profit and loss. Okay, and compound interest.
काय करायचं
SI is not very important, but compound interest is very important. Okay, uh, from the ratio part, okay, uh, you can say not exact ratio, the applications of ratio. So we
त्याचे
have
वेगळे
these
काय
one ages.
हां
Okay,
म्हणजे इंडिव्हिज्युअल
another very
पर्टिक्युलरचं
important.
राहतं ना
If you
सगळं
appear for
एक
five
इक्वल
companies, out
घालायचे
of five
असं जर
companies, three of
पर्टिक्युलर
the
कोणाचं
companies
असलं
will
तर म्हणजे
ask
जास्त जर
questions on
सेम असलं
ages.
काही अडचण येत
Okay,
नाही पर्टिक्युलर जर असलं तर वेळ
next,
लागतो
time in work. Now, time in work may you don't have to focus on all types of problems. I'll give you a few
ते
types
साईडला
of
ठेवून
problems which are very
तेवढं साईडला
important.
ठेवून बाकी
Okay,
कॉमनचे डिवाइड करून ठेव
then TSD, time, speed, and distance. Out of these time, speed, and distance, the topic which is most common, that is problems on trains based questions. You don't have to practice all the questions on TSD. Now TSD ka one major drawback is they will be asking questions
पेपर आहे
on time, speed, distance, but the problem is the questions are very lengthy. So my suggestion is if you're
कसं
not getting questions on trains or a one liner question on time, speed, distance, do not attempt that question at first. This is the suggestion. Okay, now moving back to the other part, that is average. Now out
तू
of
सांग ना
average
कॅल्क्युलेशन
you will
सांग
have
पाठवून दे तुम्ही
questions based on some missing data or missing variable,
Hmm.
or you can say change in variable. So these are the important
दोन मध्ये
concepts
प्रोसेस
that you
करून
need to study. Okay. Now the application of this is again weighted average. Very very important. Okay. Now you may ask, what is mixtures and allocations? Is it not that important? I said earlier it is important. Yes, it is important. But once you are thorough with weighted average, mixtures and
असं वाटते की
allegation is as simple as ABC. Okay. So weighted average ka hi application, or you can say in other words, weighted average itself is mixtures. Okay. Now coming back to the third one, modern math. Modern math में PNC. PNC is again very important. You will get one, at least minimum one question from PNC. Either it will be permutation or combination or application or the use of both. I'll tell you those simple questions. You go through those simple questions only. You will get questions from those only. Okay. Now probability again. Uh, I'll give you some. I'll teach you everything, but practice on those limited problems only. Okay. So these are the only important topics that you need to focus on. Okay. Now how to study? Practice just 10 problems a day. Not more than this, not less than this. Just 10 questions from the book which is provided to you. Only 10 questions. Okay. 10 questions will suffice. Okay. In a month, in a month's time, you will become expert. Okay. If you practice regularly, 10 problems a day. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. Now, earlier I mentioned like like something called as co-cubes. Is anyone aware of this?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is another company. So these are the companies which take the aptitude round and the verbal round of the recruitment process. Say for example, any companies, let's say Capgemini. Okay. So Capgemini will outsource the recruitment process to these companies. You'll say, please conduct the aptitude round and the verbal round for us. Okay. So they will have the students ka data, and they will prepare the questions, and they will conduct the test online. Now once they conduct the test online, they will present your result in a very systematic manner to Capgemini ke recruitment people. Okay, the recruiters of Capgemini. So they will be going through your data in that case. Okay. Another one is a litmus. So because now just before COVID there were very limited players. Now after COVID, there are hell lot of companies who are conducting the first round of these companies, all the IT companies. There are few companies who do not outsource; they conduct on their own. Okay, so this thing you need to be used to it. So all the tests are being taken online. Okay, so how
म्हणजे
to get used to
कंपनीचं
online
म्हणजे
test?
कसं कसं करायचं कसं आता
There are multiple websites which will provide you free online test. So my suggestion is every week,
त्याला साईडला
once in a
थांब
week,
एक साईडला
you
थांब
appear two online tests. Attempt two online tests. Okay, there are many free mock tests available. So that will be hardly of 10 minutes or 20 minutes and not more than that. Okay, do not attempt more than two tests. Now you are in the beginning phase. So once you are uh, done with all the topics, then you can go for two tests every day. This will help you clear the interview rounds. Okay, so this is from the experience I'm talking about, uh, tried and tested formula. Okay, now when you want to appear the online test, I'll tell you a few websites where you can appear. Okay, so we'll proceed to the first topic, that is the number systems. Now, number systems, as you say, we'll talk about hell lot of things about numbers. Okay, we will not be able to complete the entire number systems today. So let's see how far we can go. Uh, if you just have a query, stop me right there and ask questions. Okay. 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 So these are the topics that we will be learning in number systems. See, I told you number systems will take around 4 hours to complete. So these are the topics because of which we need 4 hours. Again, number systems, those who are good with number systems, they can solve any quantitative topics. It will be very easy for them. Okay. So don't worry if you don't understand sometimes in the first explanation. I'll explain again and again so that you can understand if you have missed out. I hope English is comfortable with you all. Do you want me to sometimes speak in Hindi as well? Is English okay with everyone of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay,
If
wonderful.
found some miss error, then I will tell.
No, no problem, no problem, no problem. See, I'll try to explain wherever there is, lot of confusing concepts. So there, I'll try to explain in Hindi as well. Okay. So classification, as the name suggests, we will be talking about what are the different types of numbers. Okay. Then divisibility rules. Again, it's a very basic thing, but once you know it, it will help a lot of uh, calculation techniques. Help in calculation techniques. Okay. Now sometimes we have a lot of divisions, lot of fractions to be multiplied. If I know divisibility rules, I can easily simplify those numbers. Now factors is one big problem for us because it looks very small. The concept look very small, but its applications are huge. Okay, so I'll give you one simple tricks to master on factors, so that will help us in solving all types of problems. Factorials. Now it's a very limited concept in number systems, but very vastly used in permutations and combinations and probability. Okay, very vastly used. So another one is cyclicity. Cyclicity, as the name suggests, it's a cycle. When we talk about cycle, certain things which repeats, something which repeats. So we will be talking about a pattern that comes again and again. So that's why we are calling it a cycle. Okay, a cyclicity. Remainders again. These are not the regular remainders that we have seen in our school time. This is a bit one level up. अभी बोलोगे रिमाइंडर्स के अलग अलग वेरिएशंस क्या होते हैं. Okay, so remainders, when do we get remainders? When we divide something with something, then we get remainders. So to get something that जिसको हम divide कर रहे हैं, that is called as dividend. That dividend takes a different shape, of different numbers. We cannot use the divisible regular way of division. So that's why we have one level up here. Okay, so we'll discuss in details, no worries. बस इतना ध्यान में रखो, this is not the regular remainder that we used to do in school. HCF LCM, very interesting. Whenever I ask some questions on uh, HCF, the very first question that I ask to every one of you, what is HCF? People simply reply me with the full form of HCF. I don't want the full form of HCF. Everybody knows it's highest common factor, or some other name we call it as GCD, greatest common divisor. This is what we call it. But the problem is, these are the full forms. Highest common factors and greatest common divisor. ये full form होते हैं. Basically, it has got something, right, some meaning to it. What is that? Now, when I ask LCM, people say least common multiple or the lowest common multiple. Again, I reply, ये full form है. These are not the meaning. So to understand the meaning, we need to study what it actually means. Okay, what how it works, where it is applied. हमारे जिंदगी में where we can apply these things. Okay, so we'll be learning thoroughly about this, and I'll tell you, this is the only topic which is the most important one, and you will have to practice daily on these. Okay, the first one being the application of HCF, second being the application of LCM out of all these 7 subtopics. Okay, so we will start with classification. Now, when I talk about classification, I am trying to identify different types of numbers. Okay, different types of numbers. So when I started with numbers, everyone started with number when you were a small kid. So your parents uh, taught you like ONE1, something like this, TWO2. Your parents did not start with, if you remember, THREE, and we write 3. There used to be a book जहाँ पे two ice creams are drawn, something like this. Okay,
एक मिनट.
and there was a space given, and you will have to count the number of ice creams, and then you write the number here. Let's say it is 2. You have studied a book something like this. There you see a type of number that we are using. Okay, now gradually, when you in second standard or third standard, they introduced another concept where a square or a rectangle was divided something like this into some equal number of squares or boxes. Some were shaded, some were not shaded. तो ये concept क्या है? Then people have introduced fractions to it, right? So they have introduced fraction on it. Now, once they introduced fractions, they introduced various types where by how we can represent a fraction. Okay, then gradually, when you move to fourth standard or fifth standard, they introduced the concept called as zero. Then you say the number does not start with 1. They say the number starts with 0. Now, we have never seen 0 as a number till now. Okay, so now you'll be seeing 0 as a number. Now, when you gradually move to the next standard, then people started saying, okay, there is something called which looks something like this. Okay, then you say, okay, what are these? This looks very, very sophisticated. Square roots, cube roots, something like this. Very sophisticated. It looks very interesting. But hota kya hai? All these are again numbers. Then gradually they introduced minus sign. Previously we used to add something like this, 23 plus 43, and then people say, okay, fine, 23 minus 43. Okay, so far so good. But now they say, okay, now do this, 23 minus 43 plus 17 minus 76. My goodness, now I have multiple signs coming in at a time. Okay, so they have introduced these types, that is the negative numbers. Now, gradually you have moved to 8th standard, 9th standard. Then people have introduced something called as P by Q, but Q not equals to 0. Can anyone tell me what is this concept all about? This P by Q? What is this concept called?
Because the divisor cannot be 0. If 0,
Yes, yes, that's correct. Divisor cannot be 0,
Sir,
but
can you
whenever I
repeat
get
this,
something
sir?
like this,
Sir,
we
can you repeat?
have a separate concept, we have separate name given to it. Okay, that we will learn. Okay, so then different numbers started appearing. Now some people say when we have moved to 11th standard, Something called as minus 1 was introduced. We have never seen a negative sign inside a root. Now, how come now they are introducing it? Now, this is something which does not have any value. So, people have named this as iota, that is I. Okay, so it is nothing but an imaginary number which has no value at all. So, they have introduced this one. So, if you look at, there are, you know, a lot of numbers. Then gradually, many of you have done engineering also. And in engineering, people started another number which were used only, which uses only ones and zeros, something like this, right? 1 0 1 1 0 1. Then again, all the mathematical operations were done on this as well. One's complement, two's complement, the binary numbers. Okay, then gradually after binary numbers, hexadecimal numbers were introduced, right? Octal number were introduced. So various number systems also came into being when semiconductors came into being, right? So so this is all about different types of numbers. So we will try to identify where we can classify all these numbers in one systematic manner. Okay, so look at this. The complex number. Now, say you may say, we have not discussed anything about complex number. Remember, whatever number that you have, that you come across in your day-to-day life, is actually is actually a subset of complex number, a derived complex number. Every number in this world is a complex number. A complex number says it always consists of a real number, okay, the real number, and imaginary number. So, what are real numbers and imaginary numbers? Real numbers are as simple as the name suggests. जो रियल में एग्जिस्ट करता है, जो होता है, जो दिखता है, those are real numbers. Now you may ask, what are real numbers? When you go to the shop, you say पाव किलो मटकी चाहिए, okay? या you say 250 ग्राम कर्ड चाहिए. So the shopkeeper understands that you want 250 grams of curd. So he knows, he understands, yes, there is something called 250. Okay, so these are the real numbers which exist, which we use in our day-to-day transactions. Okay, so those are real numbers. Now, what are imaginary numbers then? So I told you, when many mathematicians came across these numbers like minus 20, they were not able to figure out what happens when we write minus 20, or what happens when we write minus 16. Will it be minus 4, or will it be plus 4 if I take the square root of 16? Now people say square root of 16 is plus minus 4. Square root of 16. Acha, one
sir.
important. I hope I'm audible to all of you properly. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One important tip: people ask these type of questions in personal interview. That is the final round. Okay. It happened once that they were asking what is the value of root 16, and the student promptly replied it is plus minus 4, and he got rejected. Why? The square root of 16 is not plus minus 4. Now you may ask, ऐसा तो हमने पढ़ा ही नहीं है. We always studied whenever we remove the square root, the answer always ends with plus minus 4. No. Look at this. If I write something like this, x square equals 4, then when I simplify and I find the value of x as plus minus 2. Now this is correct, here it is incorrect. Square root of any number is always a positive number. Remember that. Yes. When you write them in the form of an equation, then you have plus minus 2, because here x can take the value of plus 2, also minus 2. Here we don't have x. Understand? Understood? The only square root of 16 is 4. So you don't have to use plus or minus. But when you write them in an equation, there you'll have to use plus and minus. Okay. So this is an so when think that it uh, so I can't write this as something else. I have minus 26 and get this out of the root and I write 4 and then let us give them a number with I. So it is written as 4i. So remember 4i is just an imaginary number. इसका कोई भी actual number real life में we can use does exist at all. Just for example, if we say uh, how acha there is a question. Acha, wait just a minute. 8i and 9i. Somebody was asking 8i and 9i. So I have two values. Okay, two numbers. Those both are imaginary numbers. So I'm now asking you this question. Out of these two, which one
हां किती
sim or inequation should I use for this
हां
operator the relation operators that I will be using in place of the blank that is giving 8i and 9i. So should it be this greater than or less than or equal to? This question I'm asking. Uh,
8i then
okay, 8 is greater than 9i. See, let me answer this. Okay. When I say I does not have any value which is known to us, जो हम जैसे बोलते हैं ना
ए हॉटस्पॉट दे रे एक मिनट हॉटस्पॉट दे रे नाही बॅलन्स करता येईल परवडत नाही रे येते ना आपल्याला प्रत्येकाला महिन्याचे तेच म्हणतोय 100 काहीच नाही एवढं 4-4 दिवसाला 25-25 रुपये मारावं लागतं सगळेच पिरत नाही तेल बी पुरत नाही उद्या सगळे कॉल करू मग 10 वाजता अरे आपल्या स्कूलमध्ये भेटतं ना इथं पाहिजे रे आपलं काय तुमचं टायर माहिती आहे गावसे आहे यार नकली राउटर मिला दे मी तो गाव से आया हूँ एक मिनट हाँ डन डन होता तेरे को जाने में कितने मिनट हो 5-10 मिनट तो हो गए अरे 7 मिनट करो कुछ करो 1 करोड़ वरून 10 लाख रुपये इसके लिए ऊंची पहचान से
this part this part becomes 0, then it is the number which we call it as real number, purely real numbers. When this part, the a part, becomes 0, then we call that number as imaginary number. Okay. By the way, this is just for information purpose. It is important. Rest, you will not get any questions on imaginary numbers except for personal interview. That is the HR round, the final rounds. Okay. Final rounds ka the HR people, they ask any just random questions. कहीं से भी उठा के कुछ भी क्वेश्चन पूछ लेते हैं. So you should know something about this. Okay. Now, coming back to real numbers, real numbers is something which we have studied, which we have been studying since our school days. You might have seen some number line, something like this. एक ऐसा कुछ होता था. Then we have zero, then this, then minus infinity, and so on. Then we have 1, 2, all the positive numbers on the right hand side, all the negative numbers on the left hand side. So we'll talk about these real number systems. Okay, real number line. This is real number line. Okay. Not very important, but just for knowledge sake, we'll be learning this. Now, real numbers क्या होता है? Whatever exists in real life, that is real numbers. So any real numbers, when you talk about, it is of the form p by q, where q not equals to 0, or it is of the form non-terminating, non-recurring. So I'll get back to you on this. Okay, abhi nahi. Let's go through the rational part first. So p by q not equals to 0. That means the denominator cannot be 0. क्या मतलब है इसका? So 1 by 1 or 1. This is also a number which is rational number. 1 by 2, a rational number. 5 by minus 7, a rational number. 6 is a rational number. Minus 10 is a rational number. Now you may ask, what 6 ko I have not written in terms of p by q. So can we write 6 in terms of p by q? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
What shall I write in the denominator?
One is
1.
there.
Yes, perfect. So even minus 10 also has 1. Okay. So you may wonder, whenever I say p by q, two things might exist. One is when q is 1 and when q is not equals to 1. Not equals to 1 means these are the numbers. Okay. Minus 5 by 7, or 1 by 2, or 7 by 15, and so on. These are the numbers where the denominators is not 0 and not even 1. So these are called as purely fractions. Okay. Now in fractions also we have three different types. One is called as proper. Proper as in the fractions which are less than 1. Less than 1 means what? The numerator will always be less than denominator. For example, 7 by 15, 1 by 2, 3 by 4, etc. These are the fractions which are proper. Now what are improper fractions? Just reverse of this, which is greater than 1. So greater than 1 means what? The numerator will be greater than the denominator. For example, 5 by 2, 10 by 3, minus 7 by 2, and so on. Okay. Now what is mixed fraction? Mixed fractions are nothing but a combination of whole part and the fraction. Now you might have seen numbers like 1 whole 1 by 3, 10 whole 11 by, let's say, 56, and so on. This means you have whole part and the fraction part. I'll explain this in the next slide. Okay, because fractions are the one of the most important part in your aptitude syllabus. Okay, so these are the types of fractions. So well, I'll explain you in detail what are fractions. Now the other type where q becomes 1. So q becomes 1 means what? I'll write numbers in the form 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. -1, -2, -3, and so on. So these are numbers where the denominator is always 1. Okay, so those numbers are classified as integers. So integers means what? The the denominator of a rational number when it is 1. So integers, if you look at this, the right hand side wala part, it is all whole numbers. Whole in the sense that not the whole number that you have studied 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Whole number का मतलब पूरा number जिसमें fractions ना हो. Okay, so whole numbers are those numbers where 0, 1, 2, 3 till infinity, where every number every number every number has denominator 1 and all of them are positive. Okay, now if you look at the left hand side, these are the negative numbers, which is the exactly replica of these part positive numbers. Okay, उसको बस negative sign दे दो, it becomes the negative integers. So all the integers, if you think broadly, it consists of the left hand side part, sorry, the right hand side, the left hand side yani positive numbers and the negative numbers. Okay, and 1, 0, which is neither positive nor negative. So we have all the positive numbers, which we call it as natural number. Very, very important one. Out of all these classifications, we will be dealing mostly on natural numbers. Okay, next. So if you further look into natural numbers, look at this. There are certain numbers which look similar, like numbers like 2, 4, 6, and so on, which we call it as even numbers. And the other numbers we call it as odd numbers. And there are certain numbers which follow certain types of pattern or behavior. We call it prime. Other type is also composite. We'll be discussing in detail about this. Okay, no worries. So subsequently in the next slide we will get to know. Now 0, 0 is neither positive nor negative, which we have seen. If you look at negative numbers, so negative numbers are just negative integers and nothing else. इसका real life में उतना कुछ use है नहीं. Okay, just to denote certain context. So I'll tell you what are those contexts. So natural numbers. So if you talk about natural numbers, uh, can anyone tell me where do we use natural numbers in our day-to-day life? Do we even use natural numbers in our day-to-day life? The answer is yes.
Yes.
लैपटॉप किसका है ये?
Yes. हर जगह natural numbers है.
तो इसमें लेक्चर रखने
So
का रहना चालू.
somebody asked, why do we use natural numbers? Say गर्मी का मौसम है. Mother is asking, fill all the bottles with water and keep it inside the fridge. बोले, you are asking, कितने bottles है? ये mother में से 5 bottles, 6 bottles, 7 bottles. So have you even heard something like this? 5.5 bottle fridge में रख दो. We cannot say like this, right? Now when I talk about how many people, how many students are present today, I say 50 students are present or 55 students are present. I cannot say 55.5 students are there. मैं ये बोल ही नहीं सकता. Someone with 0.5 number. मैं बोल सकता हूँ क्या आधे लोग आए थे. एक आदमी है जो सिर्फ आधा ही आया है. So it's not possible, right? So I'll say either 55 or 56. I cannot say 55.5 people are there. So that means I am giving a count. मैं गिनती बता रहा हूँ. So whenever there is count, I'm using natural numbers. Okay. Now, where do we use fractions? Yes, we use fractions in our day-to-day life. Now, बोलोगे कहाँ? I was peacefully having a chocolate. Okay, I was having a chocolate. I was about to I have removed the wrappers, and I was about to have it. Then my friend came in. He said, "Give me half." Now I have to break the chocolate. I don't have the entire chocolate now. So my friend is good enough. You'll say, हाँ बराबर का हिस्सा चाहिए मुझे. That means I have to break it into two pieces, equal pieces. Okay, one pieces I'll have. That means I'll say out of those two pieces I had one piece. So I have given the other half to my friend. My friend has eaten it and he went away. ठीक है, चॉकलेट खा के चला गया. Then I being very clever, मेरे पास एक पूरा का पूरा चॉकलेट था जो मैंने छुपा के रखा. So I have one complete chocolate and I have half of another chocolate. That means I represent something like this. One whole part, another is fraction part. So I am representing this as mixed fraction. So this is all about our use of fractions, use of natural numbers in our day-to-day life. Okay. So when you go to the market also, you also do the same thing. You say bananas खरीदने हैं, एक डजन खरीदना है. You want to buy eggs. You say half dozen eggs, that is 6 in count. Can you ask him to give you 6.5 eggs? Not possible at all, right? So whenever we use count, we are using natural numbers. So whenever we need to break something into certain number of equal pieces, we use fractions. Okay, so these are the two very important concepts that we will be using throughout. One is the fraction, another is the natural number. Okay, now we have left one very interesting concept, irrational number. You see this one, I said ki in the real numbers, those numbers which are represented in p by q format are always rational numbers. Is there any number which cannot be represented in the form p by q? Yes, there are numbers जिसको हम बोलते हैं non-repeating, non-recurring. What are they? So very interesting say root 2 is 1.414. Uh, what comes up 0.414? Do we know that? Whenever it's right, we only take 0.414. The problem is I am not sure about or whatever comes before is the pattern or not. In contrast to this, if you look at something like this, 10 by 3 को can I write 3.33 and so on, right? So the problem is the in the comes after 4. I know what comes after 3. Every time it is 3 only. I know the pattern which comes, but in the next one, so this is non-terminating because it never ends. That's why it is non-terminating. Non-recurring means I am not aware of the pattern, okay, or there is no specific pattern. Am I clear on this? So these are the two difference. But if you look at 10 by 3, it is non-terminating. मतलब ये कभी खत्म नहीं होगा. लेकिन I can terminate this. I can say it is recurring. Recurring means कुछ repeat होता है every time. There is some repetitions. Pattern है, but यहाँ पे pattern नहीं है. Okay. So this is all about the non-terminating, non-recurring. This is called as NTNR, non-terminating, non-recurring. This is non-terminating but recurring. ये जो है ये इस फॉर्मेट में आता है. Okay, but this comes under this. That means I can never write root 2 in the form of p by q. Similar case is root 3. You might have wondered the value of pi 3.3.14, right? The value of pi. अब इसके बाद क्या आता है? Nobody knows. Yeah, we have not seen that. That means there is no specific pattern which number will repeat. अब बोलोगे पाई तो हमने 22/7 भी देखा है. So 22/7 is not rational number because we are using this as an approximate value, not exact value. Okay, so pi का 22/7 which is of the form p by q is an approximate value. ठीक है, so that's why we are not considering this pi as real numbers. Clear on this, everyone?
Yes,
I
sir.
hope I'm audible. Okay, wonderful. So this is what the number line, real number line system look like. So you see this, एक horizontal way में 8 लिखते हैं. The name of this is infinity, and this is minus infinity. Now infinity concept, it's like it's a very large number. Okay, sufficiently large. We call it sufficiently large. अब ये sufficiently large क्या होता है? Somebody say was asking, समंदर के पानी में से अगर मैंने एक मग पानी निकाल लिया, if I remove one mug of water out of the ocean, so ocean is the you can say infinity value for this mug of water. Again, let's say bucket of water में बहुत सारा पानी है, बहुत सारा है, लेकिन in compared to mug of water it is not infinity. But if I say H2O, one molecule, ठीक है, one molecule of water के लिए this bucket of water becomes infinity. So it is based on subject, ठीक है. So whenever I say one number is sufficiently large, from where if you remove a small amount, it will still be the same. So this is all about infinity. Sufficiently large, कितना large? One mug of water or one bucket of water या one ocean of water या lakes of water? I have no idea, but ये बहुत large. तो it is, that's why we call it sufficiently large. Real life में अगर हम इसको interpret करें something like this, let's say madness, okay, पागलपंती. How much पागल? Nobody knows, right? There is a video circulating around. How much pagal, very much pagal, and so on. So when I say there are two people admitted in a mental hospital, ये दोनों mental hospital में हैं, but can you measure that madness? ये can you does the doctor say ये भाई साहब ना 5 पागल है और ये 10 पागल है? Can we measure in terms of numbers? No, we cannot measure, right? So पागल है तो पागल है, but how much पागल है? Nobody knows. Okay. So this is one idea about infinity. See, every mathematical concept is derived from real life situation only. ये हमारे साथ जो होती हैं, to give some number to it, we use to give some measure to it, we use numbers. Okay, so number systems का काम ही है किसी चीज को measure करना. Okay, so all the number systems, different types of numbers came into being. I'm so sorry if you're hearing some background noise. The dogs are barking. Okay, so measurements के वजह से the numbers came into being. बाजार में कुछ चीजें खरीदनी है, I use some money. बाजार में कुछ measurement करनी है, the vendors used to measure certain weights, so he uses numbers again. So all these different measurements का requirement is used using number systems. So number systems came into being because of our requirements. Requirements what? Measurements. Measurements क्या देता है? The quantity. जब भी हम किसी चीज का क्वांटिटी बताते हैं, we use number systems. Okay, so coming back to this number line system, So we were talking about infinity. So infinity is something which is sufficiently large. कितना large? Nobody knows. Okay, but it is sufficiently large. इसमें कुछ भी ऐड कर दो, it will always be an infinity. The number does not change. Okay. So now if you look at all the fractions lie here between the numbers. Okay. When I say 3 by 4, 3 by 4 will lie somewhere in between, sorry, between 0 and 1. When I say 1 whole 1 by 5, मतलब एक से तो ज्यादा है but दो से कम है. So this fraction is more than 1. So it will lie somewhere here. Okay. So this is all about the number line system. Okay. So the number increases as you go right, and the number decreases as you go towards left. Okay. Okay. So moving on to the next one. I told you uh, about natural numbers, which is very important one. Okay. So when I talk about natural numbers, so natural numbers is basically consist of two parts. One is even part and another is odd part. अब वर्ल्ड के जितने भी नेचुरल नंबर्स ले लो, आधे नंबर इवन है, आधे नंबर ऑड है. इवन नंबर्स मीन व्हाट? जो नंबर्स लाइक 2, 6, 8, 10 and so on. Now you may ask, zero कहाँ गया? Because zero is not a natural number, so we are not including natural number. Okay, so when you include 0 plus natural number, it becomes whole number. Okay, so whole number is another system. Okay, so nobody will ask you what is whole number, but just know it. अब क्या पता क्वेश्चन पूछ ले. Till now nobody has asked. During interviews. Okay, so even numbers are those numbers which are divisible by 2. This is the definition that we know since childhood. ना, जो number 2 से divide होता है. So 2 से divide होता है means what? You can always separate uh, in terms of you can always divide into two equal halves. आप हमेशा दो हिस्सों में बांट सकते हो चीजों को. Okay, so this is nothing but even number. So even numbers are whenever I try to add multiple even numbers. Okay, I add multiple even numbers. Your answer will always be even. है ना? जोड़े जो बोलते हैं ना, जोड़े में अगर आप किसी चीज को ऐड करोगे, it will become another जोड़ा. But whenever I'm multiplying even with even number, yeah, even with odd numbers, my answer will always be an even. So even is one very powerful one, because whenever you add even numbers, it becomes even. Whenever you multiply even numbers, it becomes even numbers. तो even के साथ कुछ भी multiply करो, it will always be an even. Now, this is not the case when you divide. Okay, when you divide even number by even number, your answer will be odd or even. Say for example, 12 by 4, it is 3, but 12 by 6, it is 2. Look at this. Sometimes you are getting odd number, sometimes you are getting even number. Okay, so even by even will sometimes give us odd, sometimes give us even number depending upon the type of number. Okay, but even by odd will always, say for example 12 by 3. So when I do 12 by 3, I'm actually what I'm doing is 4 into 3 ka, this 3 is cancelled out. I'm left with 4, which is an even number. So even by odd, the odd part of the even number, the odd factor of that particular even number is getting cancelled out. Again, these are subject to numbers. Okay, मैं 2 divided by 3 करूंगा and I am expecting an even number. No, ये कब होता है when it is divisible, then only. Okay, otherwise not. Now moving back to similar condition, ये आप if you take any particular numbers also, you can easily apply, even if you forget sometimes. Okay, odd plus odd, which gives us two conditions. One is आपके पास even number of odds है, या odd number of odds है. What is the meaning of this? 3 plus 5 plus 7. So we have 3 odds. So your answer will be odd, odd number, okay? But if you have 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9, so you have 4 odd, matlab even number of odds, okay? Your answer will be even. ठीक है? So this is always happening, always. Now same case, when I say odd into even, because यहाँ पे हमने देखा है that even with when you multiply with odd, the answer is even. Similarly, odd into even will always be even, but odd into odd is always odd, and odd by odd will always be odd. Okay, so this is what we have seen. You can just even if you forget, don't worry at all. This will always be easily remembered if you take some examples. Okay? When I say somebody say there are 100 odd numbers, and you may wonder कि 100 odd numbers को मैं कैसे लिखूं? Don't worry at all. There are 100 odd numbers. You take 4 odd numbers. You take 6 odd numbers. If the condition satisfies with these two, the condition will also satisfy for 100 odd numbers. Okay. So ये इसको sampling लेना बोलते हैं. ठीक. That I'll discuss later on.
सर
So let us.
हेलो सर,
हाँ हाँ
उसमें फिर ऑड नंबर ऑफ इवन नंबर्स क्या आएगा फिर? मतलब ये जो कंडीशन बताई ना आपने दो ऊपर वाली,
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
odd number of odd odd and even number of odd even, then what will be the answer for
Sir, everything
even
is
number
not
of
clear. Please repeat.
odd, नहीं, odd number of even number.
इवन के लिए ऐसा कुछ ना कंडीशन नहीं है. इवन आप जितना भी इवन नंबर्स ऐड करो, चाहे 5 इवन नंबर ऐड करो कि 8 ऐड करो, इट विल
हाँ
ऑलवेज
हाँ,
बी एन इवन नंबर.
अभी समझ
सिर्फ
गया सर.
हाँ, दिक्कत सिर्फ ऑड में है,
हाँ
इसीलिए ये
सर,
थोड़ा ऑड है. ठीक है, ओके. सो मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. A, B and C are even numbers and X, Y, Z are odd numbers. ये 3 even numbers हैं और ये odd numbers हैं. Now it can be any even number. Doesn't matter at all. This question is from your book itself. ठीक है. So I love the question so much. So I had little time to design this. Uh, so A, B, C are 3 even numbers and X, Y, Z are 3 odd numbers. Okay. So then which of the following statements is not true? I was told is not true, मतलब कोई भी एक जो है वो सही नहीं है. Now I need to identify which one will not be true. So let us talk about the first one. AB upon C, can it be XY? अब देखते हैं. Now I was looking at these numbers. ये even है. So when you multiply even into another even, I'm sure I'm getting even number. We have seen just now. Even के साथ आप even multiply करोगे तो आपको even मिलेगा. Okay. So this is an even number. So AB is an even number. Now C is also an even number. That means I just identified AB by C is even number by even number. तो मैंने अभी देखा था कि even by even जो है, sometimes it may be odd, sometimes it may be even number depending upon the number. That means ये वाला statement true हो सकता है if I am given certain numbers of certain values to A, B and C and X, Y. Okay, so it may be odd or it may be even. ये दोनों के लिए condition true है, तो यहाँ पे कुछ भी आए कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Okay, and basically X and Y both are odd जो है. So
sir,
odd.
C is not true.
C is not true. Okay, let us see. अब देखो, C is not true. If I look at okay, so I'm solving this थर्ड ऑप्शन फर्स्ट, ठीक है। सो लेट अस सी, इक्वल्स टू बी सेट। नाउ हमने देखा है कि इवन के साथ इवन मल्टीप्लाई करो तो मुझे इवन मिलना ही चाहिए, बट इवन को अगर आप ऑड से डिवाइड करो विच इज वाई, तो आपका आंसर हमेशा ऑड आना चाहिए। जस्ट नाउ वी हैव सीन even divided by odd, your answer will always be an even number, right? Yes or no? So even by
Yes,
even
sir.
will always be an even number. अब देखा जाए तो क्या राइट हैंड साइड वाला इवन है? चलो देखते हैं। B is an even number multiplied by odd number. This is going to get us even number. तो कहने का मतलब है ये स्टेटमेंट भी ट्रू है। ओके,
हाँ सर,
अब
true है.
अब चेक करते हैं द सेकंड वन। अब
So B is
ऊपर
false.
में, यस, ऊपर में इवन है, नीचे ऑड है। सो वी विल गेट बैक टू दिस। इवन डिवाइडेड बाय ऑड विल ऑलवेज गिव अस इवन। तो वही मैंने चेक किया स्टेटमेंट नंबर बी में, इवन डिवाइडेड बाय ऑड, वाई जेड तो ऑड है, तो इवन डिवाइडेड बाय ऑड कभी ऑड नहीं आ सकता, चाहे यू पुट एनी वैल्यूज ऑफ एक्स एंड वाई एंड जेड। सो वी कैन से statement A and statement C can be true, but statement B cannot be true for any values of x and y and z and b and c. Okay, so this is how we calculate. Now this question is basically an understanding of the concept of natural numbers, the even and odd numbers. Okay, uh, can anyone solve this puzzle for me?
Using the following number only once, in how
So you
many
have
ways
given,
the above
you are
equation
given
can be
five
solved?
boxes, five
Using the
boxes,
following numbers
and
only once, in how
these are the
many
numbers.
ways?
Using the following numbers only once. What does it mean only
17,
once?
28,
That means,
29,
say for
30,
example, I'm
31,
using the
32,
number 7 in
33,
any one of these boxes. मैंने किसी में एक बिठा दिया, तो I cannot use 7 for other
odd
boxes,
plus odd,
right?
3 plus 2,
So this is
odd
what the
plus even
difference that
odd
is
होते,
making.
even plus even होते,
अब मुझे सोचना
even even होते.
पड़ेगा in how many ways the above equation can be solved. So that means I'll be using
किती
trial
वेळेस
and
होते
error
बघू,
method
50 घेतले
to
होते.
use different numbers as the combinations and find out how many different ways I can use.
13 वेळेस.
So is there anyone
म्हणजे
who
कोणता
can
कोणता नंबर का?
challenge me this, or you can help me in solving this equation?
Only once, in how
We
many
can
ways
help sir, but not challenge.
equation can be solved?
Okay, okay, no problem. You please
सर्व यूज
help.
करायचे अलग अलग.
Others also please participate.
3 वेळ 4 2 3 4
This
5
question
1
is
2
actually asked
3.
in an interview. Okay, I have slightly modified क्योंकि मैं directly पूछूंगा तो फिर it becomes a very popular question. So people will start, searching on Google or website. So that's why I've slightly modified this question. So you take 1 minute and try to solve.
5 इतना
The
17
hint
ऐसा
is,
भी बहुत पेपर लेके
you
बैठे
can use those
21 50.
analysis that we have done, even plus even and even not. All those
24
analysis
25
we can
5
use here.
6 16 9 हां चालते ना. 17 कर ना, किती काय येतं बघ. 5 व्हॅल्यू घ्यायच्या ना, आणि त्याच्यापासून 50 आलं पाहिजे. ती एक रिपीट नाही झाली पाहिजे ना. हां, हे बघा, हे झाले 7 आणि 3 10.
Is it done or you have given up?
चार वेळेस येईल, 3 वेळेस तरी येईल म्हणजे.
If you don't want to, speak up, you can uh, drop me a message. Saurabh, I'm so sorry, I did not see that message.
Your name.
I hope I'm audible properly.
Yes sir, you are audible properly.
Is Saurabh there?
No sir, no. किती कॉम्बिनेशन आहे ते थोडा दिवस लागेल.
Okay, so if you have figured out the answer, or if you don't want to speak up, you can drop your answer in the chat box. I'm all okay with that.
So can you please explain this question once again?
एकदाच होते वाटतं.
Yes,
हा?
definitely.
नाही तर तुम्ही.
See, I have 5 boxes. Okay,
हे बघा, आता
so
समजा पहिले
definitely the
गेली
question is asking that use
17
these
18.
numbers.
हो
Okay,
किती होतात?
we have these numbers
8 28 ना.
17, 11, 1, 3, and all. So I need to put these numbers in the
37.
boxes so that the
अजून
addition
किती आहे?
gives us exactly 50.
48.
It's just an equation.
नाही ना.
So you need to solve these equation by putting up the values. So मैं ऐसा वैल्यू डिसाइड करूंगा ताकि एडिशन becomes 50.
38 38 म्हणजे 12 आहे का त्याच्यात? अरे
So I hope you have understood the question now.
सर I solved this but फोर बॉक्स में ही आ रहे हैं.
अच्छा.
Yes, sir. Full box में आ रहा है.
4 boxes, but we have one box. We cannot leave that box empty.
Sir, one even number चाहिए.
That is the catch. See, you add 5 odd numbers, right? So all these numbers are odd. Whenever you add 5 odd numbers, your answer will always be an odd number.
Yes, sir.
But our requirement is 50, which is an even. Yes. So ऐसा आंसर कभी आएगा ही नहीं. The number of ways is no way at all. Cannot be determined. You got my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तो this is what I was looking at. I gave you the hint. वो वाला data use करो जो analysis हमने किया था.
Sir, odd.
Yes. If you look at this, I'll show you once. है ना?
Sir, 2 and
This is what I was talking.
plus 1. Yes.
Yes. You have odd number of odds, it will always be an odd number. You will never get an even number. But our requirement is 50, which is an even number. This is the reason I gave you this question. Okay, this question was actually asked in an interview. I have modified the numbers, I have modified this boxes. Am I clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before moving on to the next section, I have another very good question for you. So it's not there in the slide. I'll just explain you the question. Okay, listen to this very carefully. Okay, I'll explain this question in the form of a situation. Okay, so let's say Mr. Ram. Okay, let's talk about. Have you seen the movie Raid by Ajay Devgan? अजय देवगन का एक मूवी आया था, that is Raid, right?
Yes, not so. It's not so.
Yeah, अच्छा. I'll tell you the background story of this. The story is based on an income tax officer who raided someone's house. उसको he has an information that he's got a lot of black money, okay, hidden somewhere here in the building architects. Okay, so raid करने जाता है, he being an income tax officer. What happens is, let's say he goes to a house, a very rich person's house, and he raids, and he recovered three suitcases full of money, cash. 3 suitcase मिले हैं पूरे भरे भरे कैश से. So you have suitcase number 1, suitcase number 2, suitcase number 3. Okay, now the owner is very terrified. पूरा जिंदगी भर का मेहनत लेके चला जाएगा. So Ajay opened this suitcase and found that it has got 1 rupee, all 1 rupee note. Okay, इसमें 2 rupees note and sorry 3 rupees note, and here he got 5 rupees note. Okay, so इतने सूटकेस में भरे हुए पैसे हैं. So he was worried कि ये सारा पैसा मेरे जिंदगी भर का कमाई है, चाहे कैसे भी हो. Okay, so if income tax has got hold of it, it will be taken away from him. So he said कि okay sir, please come, थोड़ा साइड में आइए, let's do one thing, let's do some लेन देन करते हैं and then we can close it. So Ajay, being a very you can say क्या बोलते हैं उसको, non who is not very corrupt, some kind of honest, yes, honest officer. So he said नहीं भाई साहब, मैं रिश्वत नहीं लेता हूँ. I do one thing, if you insist, I'll take, my wallet can fit in exactly 14 notes. मेरे वॉलेट में सिर्फ 14 नोट्स के लिए ही जगह है. ओके, मैं अपने उसूल के पक्के आदमी हूँ, तो आई विल डू वन थिंग, आई विल टेक एग्जैक्टली 14 नोट्स, ना 14 से कम ना 14 से ज्यादा. तो इन्हीं सूटकेस में से मुझे पैसे निकाल के दो. ओके, एंड आई वांट टू हैव एग्जैक्टली 35 रुपीज. मुझे 35 रुपए का रिश्वत दे दो. सो द ओनर वॉज वेरी हैप्पी. अरे भाई साहब, सिर्फ 35 रुपए तो मांग रहे हैं, मैं 35 रुपए सूटकेस में से निकाल के दे दूंगा. So he was telling this story. Sorry, he was finding it very very easy. So he took out some notes from here, he took out some notes from here, and he took out some certain number of notes from here. Now the number of notes should be 14. So in how many, the question goes like this, in how many ways that person can bribe the income tax officer? कितने तरीके से bribe कर सकते हैं? Okay, now this question is similar to the previous question, the box wala question. Now look at this, some similarity is there. 14 notes होने चाहिए. The sum of the money should be 35. मतलब आप नोट्स को गिनती करोगे ना, नोट्स में जो वैल्यूज हैं आप उसको गिनती करोगे, the addition has to be 35. The problem arises here. अगर मुझे 14 नोट्स लेने हैं, the sum of the notes should be 35. Look at this situation. Now all these suitcases contain odd number. Am I right? 1 rupee, 3 rupee, 5 rupee. तो जब आप 14 odd numbers को ऐड करोगे तो आपके पास हमेशा इवन नंबर ही आएगा. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So मैंने 1 रुपया लिया, 1 रुपया यहाँ पे लिया, let's say 3 rupees लिया या 3 rupees. So and so on. If you always add ना odd numbers, 14 numbers को add करोगे तो 14 odd numbers will always give us an even number. It will never be an odd number. So income tax थोड़ा, he was पढ़ा लिखा, थोड़ा सा समझदार, and he was a smart person, so he could easily fool that owner. So now he cannot be bribed. So matter is closed. Okay. So I hope you have understood this one.
Yes, sir.
So moving on to the next part, the components of natural numbers. First we have seen even numbers, right? The other one we have seen odd numbers. Now moving on to the third part is the prime number. So these two are again, we will be using this very often now. Prime numbers क्या होता है? So the prime numbers are nothing but 2, 3, 5, 7. What characteristics does it have? So it can be divided only by 1 and itself. Say for example 11. So 11 can be divided by 1 and 11 can be divided by 11. means, can I divide 11 by 5? The answer is no. Can I divide 11 by 7? The answer is no. डिवीजन का मतलब क्या है? क्या आप 11 चॉकलेट्स 5 लोगों में इक्वली बांट सकते हो? नहीं। क्या आप 11 चॉकलेट्स 11 लोगों में बांट सकते हो? या आंसर इज यस। But one chocolate will remain, and that remaining one chocolate is called as remainder. तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि whenever we have a number which can be divided by 1 and itself, then that number is a prime number. Okay, so many people ask me this question, sir, why don't you include 1 in it? 1 एक ऐसा number है that is divisible by 1 and itself only. 1 cannot be divided by 3 or 5 and so on. So let me tell you, 1 जो है ना ही प्राइम में काउंट होता है ना ही कॉम्पोजिट में, ठीक है? So 1 is neither prime nor composite. ये हमेशा याद रखना. So prime number will always start with 2. Okay? Now if you observe all the prime numbers, you see starting from 3, all of them are odd numbers. Yes. So except for 2, which is an even number, that's why it is called as even prime. Even भी है और prime भी है. 2 is the only even prime. Okay. Now, these are the information that we can memorize. 1 से लेकर 1, from 1 to 100, there are 25 prime numbers. From 1 to 15, there are 15 prime numbers. Okay. So just information है कि कौन से prime numbers हैं, you don't have to go through it. हाँ, now one special characteristic is 357. 357 ये एक ऐसा नंबर है, you look at this, consecutive, they are consecutive, मतलब एक के बाद एक, 3 के बाद next prime number is 5, 5 के बाद next prime number is 7. So if you look at, they are consecutive and they have a common difference which is 2. ठीक है? और ये पूरे prime number, yes.
Consecutive, what's the meaning of consecutive?
Consecutive means एक के बाद एक. जैसे for example, 1 के बाद the next number is 2, next number is 3, next is 4. So I say these are consecutive numbers. एक के बाद जो adjacent है ना, एक के बाद एक आता है.
प्राइम नंबर के लाइन में वो कॉन्सिक्यूटिव.
Yes. 3, 5, 7, 11 ये prime numbers है ना. Okay, so these are the consecutive prime numbers. Now when I say 3, 5, 11 ये consecutive नहीं है क्योंकि बीच में बहुत सारे prime number, बीच में एक prime number छूट गए हैं, ठीक है ना. So this is not consecutive, but these are consecutive. ठीक है, जो adjacent है, जो naturally एक के बाद एक आता रहता है, इसको consecutive बोलते हैं. Okay, so if I say consecutive even numbers का मतलब 2, 4, 6 and so on. ये देखो एक के बाद एक आता ही रहेगा. बट अगर मैं बोलूँ 2, 4 and 10, ये consecutive नहीं है because 4 के बाद you are missing out 6, you are missing out 8, so it is not consecutive. Okay, so in the entire prime number के series में you see these are the only 3, 5 and 7 are the only 3 consecutive prime numbers with a common difference of 2. 3 और 5 में 2 का डिफरेंस है, 5 and 7 में भी 2 का डिफरेंस है. बस यही है, बाकी कोई भी सीरीज, कोई भी consecutive prime numbers ले लो. जैसे for example 31 is a prime number. Now 32 is not a prime number. 33 is not. 34, 35, 36. Next prime number is 37, and then we have 41. Okay. Now you see the difference is 6. The difference is 4. They are consecutive prime numbers, but there is no common difference. This is the meaning. When I say 3, 5 and 7, बस ये तीन ही ऐसे प्राइम नंबर्स हैं जो कंसेक्यूटिव है, उसके साथ में डिफरेंस जो है वो हमेशा 2 है. ओके. अनदर इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट इज, कभी पूछने वाले हैं नहीं, आज तक पूछे नहीं है. Any prime numbers can be represented of the form of 6k plus minus 1, but starting from 5. Okay, जो 5 से starting, any prime number starting from 5, you can always represent them using in the form of 6k plus or 6k minus 1. अब बोलोगे 23 is a prime number, how can I represent 23? So 23 can be represented as 6 into 4 minus 1. So this is your k. So you may ask, acha, 29 is also a prime number, how can I represent? Yes, you can represent 6 into k, yani 6 into 5 minus 1. Okay, so this is the way to represent a prime number. 71 is a prime number. So how can I represent 71? It is 6 into 12 minus 1. Okay, now you may ask, sabhi to minus 1 dikh rahe hain, where is plus 1? Yes, 7 is a prime number which I can represent as 6k plus 1, yani 6 into 1 plus 1. Okay, so all these numbers, all the prime numbers starting from 5 will be either of the 6k plus 1 or 6k minus 1 form. Now moving on to the side का जो एक cloud दिख रहा है आपको, ये see 1001 is a product of 3 consecutive prime numbers, which is 7, 11 and 13. ये ध्यान में रखो because we will be using this in divisibility rules. Okay, so 7, 11 and 13. Now so another one is the composite number. If you look at composite number, the exact opposite of prime is composite. अब बोलो कि composite क्या है which is exactly opposite of prime numbers? Look at this. When I was talking about prime numbers, it is divisible by 1 and itself 1. But for composite, any composite number is divisible by 1 and itself and some other numbers. Now for example, let's say 12. Now can you divide 12 by 1? Yes. Can you divide 12 by 2? Yes. 12 by 3? Can you divide 12 by 4? Yes. Can you divide 12 by 6? Yes. Can you divide 12 by 12? Yes. 1 और खुद को छोड़ के और भी सारे numbers हैं. Okay, so those are composite numbers. So all the numbers are nothing but composite when it is divisible by 1 and itself and few others. So I can say entire natural number is consist of even numbers and the odd numbers. Okay, or entire natural number consists of 1 and prime numbers and composite numbers. जितने भी natural numbers हैं उसमें 1 हटा दो तो बचे हुए prime numbers and composite numbers हैं, या जितने भी prime numbers हैं, जितने भी natural numbers हैं, half of them are even, बाकी half odd है. So this is the conclusion. Okay, so for all the entire analysis, 4 major components that we have seen is even numbers, okay, even numbers, odd numbers, prime numbers and composite numbers. There is one more concept called as co-prime. So we will also see that जब हम लोग divisibility rules पढ़ेंगे, then I'll explain you co-prime numbers. So is 71 a prime number? The answer is yes. Okay, we need to test. normally, acha, tell me whether have you written any program where we need to test a given number is a natural number or not. C program में किए होंगे. We start every programming starts with C. ना C तो basic है, C सीखना ही पड़ता है. And then we write a lot of programs on C. So finding out whether a given number is prime number or not, that is also one of the programs. उसमें हम लोग we take an input, right? Scanf से एक number input लेते हैं and then we go on dividing that particular n by 2, n by 3, ना? These are the counters that you while loop या for loop में increment करके आप use करते हो, n by 4 and so on till n by 2 को आप divide करते हो, है ना? Sorry, n divided by n by 2 हाफ तक से डिवाइड करते हैं. So these are like थोड़ा सा complex process है. So what I'll do is I'll simply take the square root of 71. अब बोलोगे square root of 71, it is very difficult. You don't have to find the exact value. So I'll simply tell you one thing. 71 lies between two perfect squares. One is 64, another is 81. So if I take the square root of 71, that means I'll say square root of 71 lies between 8 and 9. मतलब 64 का भी if I take square root, I'll get 8. Square root of 81 is 9. So that means I will always think of square root of 71 as 8 point something. I'll get 8 point something as the answer. But this is not important for me. What is important is
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी क्लियर.
am I audible to every one of you?
Yes, sir, now audible.
Okay. Actually, power just went off, so I had to connect through hotspot. Okay. Anyways, we have almost come to the end part of the session. Okay. So always remember, you take the square root of number part is the only important thing. So now what comes next? Next is take all the prime numbers which are less than or equal to this number.
Sir, your voice
3,
is
5.
breaking.
Is it still breaking? Am I not audible?
Now
Yes, sir, now it's audible. Audible.
Okay. So the thing is, I'll just take the values which are less than all the prime numbers less than or equals to 8. So these are the prime numbers. So you try to divide only using these prime numbers. So is 71 divisible by 2? No. Is 71 divisible by 3? No. Is 71 divisible by 5? No. Is 71 divisible by 7? Answer is no. That means 71 is a prime number. Another example, let's talk about, let's say 211. Let's talk about this. I need to test whether this is a prime number or not. So I was wondering what could be the square root of 211. So the nearest perfect square which is less than 211 is 14. So I'll get 14 point something. Again, I'm telling you, this something is not all. I'm more concerned about 14. Okay. So how come I get 14? 211 lies between 196 and 225. ये भी perfect square है, ये भी square. Perfect square of 14 and this is the square of 15. Okay. So this is where I got 14 point something. Now this 14, if I talk about all the prime numbers less than or equals to 14, so it will include 2, it will include 3, 5, 7, 11,
Hello, sir.
and 13. Ah,
Screen and voice not getting in parallel.
okay, is it lagging?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I am not sure when will power. So is it okay now or still lagging?
Write something, sir. Yes, sir. Now clear.
Guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Let's do one thing. Let's continue in the next session because a lot of disruption and you have come to an end of the session.
Sir, voice not getting proper. Same problem occurs.
Okay. Let's do one thing. Let's continue in the next session. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, just give me a minute. I'll quickly take your attendance. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. So let's meet in the next session tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, everyone. Okay. Okay. Chalo.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, sir. Good night, sir.